People left the game.
Yeah, I think a lot of people got dropped. I'm assuming. I've seen this happen before. Not sure if they'll force a restart or not, but let's just continue as is for the time being. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Game 2 in this Best of 5 series. This is the finals for the ZOTAC Cup. Spawning here in the lower left corner of the map. Spawning blue, it is playing for Team Liquid, TLO.
Oh. And with the cock block, it is Style Power.
No, it's totally understandable. I think
yes,
a couple people got dropped. It might... I think everyone but us may have gotten dropped. Lynn used to hear. Yeah, I didn't say the names of the people dropped because what happens is they drop at the load screen, so they never load in for the game to drop them, is the thing.
Right, yeah. It seems like there'd be a way to carry their names through so that we could actually know.
They may just remake it.
They're probably not refs. I mean, but this is one of the reasons why ZOTAC admins are awesome, because they actually care about this kind of thing.
Yeah. Again, like, I don't know why other admins have such trouble keeping up to the standards, the high standards we've become accustomed to with the ZOTAC Cup. But you know what, let's just restart this from that pause. So ladies and gentlemen, welcome with a delayed introduction to Game 2 in this Best of 5 series. This is, of course, for the finals of the ZOTAC Cup European Edition. 100 euros on the line for first place. Spawning here in the lower left corner of the map, it's the Blue Zerg, Liquid's TLO.
And in the upper right-hand corner, currently down by 1 game, hailing from Empire in the red, it is Kas.
Yeah, I mean, Kas, he recently played I don't know, we call it quote-unquote a show match on Chanman stream versus Nerchio, and got absolutely demolished by the Zerg prowess that is Nerchio, and TLO showing us an equally scary force today. Game 1, very methodically. I mean, it was so heavily in TLO's favor for the entirety of the game, but Kas, man, he did not give up. He was continuing to fight the entire way through.
I like that spirit out of him. I mean, he's the type of guy, when you want to look at someone who actually plays this game to almost a religious extent, yeah, you are watching the Church of Starcraft. If you're with us on this Sunday, this lovely Sunday, he played, what was it, in one season, 1,200 ladder games. That's not including custom games. 1,200 ladder games. The guy is a machine, and he knows what he's doing. So when he stays in a game, I'm not going to argue with him. He's come back from it before.
I was going to say, he's probably been in those dire straits. Maybe not the exact same situation, but yeah, absolutely. He's probably had his strength tested time and time again. But one thing, interestingly enough, is he's not going for a wall-off, which I'm very curious about here, Ord.
Against Zerg, it's almost a staple, like you do it, period, dot. I wonder if he's trying to tempt TLO into doing some kind of early aggression, maybe? Because as a Zerg player, that would seem wide open. Command center on the low ground, no block.
I don't think it's necessarily bait, but it is a strange location for the barracks. I mean, he's left enough build space to put like a factory or something underneath, if maybe that's the plan. But again, I don't really know what the choice is here. By having the reaction up higher, it creates a stronger wall, but you still got the supply depots, pros, cons, catches, etc. We'll have to see what his plans are. Meanwhile, TLO, I don't know, earlier on Daybreak today, we saw him do some really crazy stuff. If I can remind everybody, if you're watching this from the VODs and you weren't joining us live, TLO did this amazing game earlier where he did, at this location, a Nidus Swarm and just pushed with Swarm hosts. And I don't know how or why it works so well, but it did. There's spine crawlers that accompanied it, along with a ton of queens.
It was just devastating. It was really impressive. And TLO has been today so far the king of the magical 4-ling combination, and that's what he's going with right now.
But Kas did manage to shut it down last game, and I think he'll do it again once more with 2 Marines in this bunker. But I was going to say, the whole reason I bring up the thing about the Queen and the Nidus, etc., it wasn't because I was expecting him to do that this game, but it's a tip of my hat to like the ingenuity and the creativity TLO has been showing with his builds.
True. And nice little stutter step here out of Kas, but one worker does go down. A second one, maybe? Oh, TLO, so close. Still has all 4 lings alive. Even as I say that, one does go down. Lings are going to leave. Our early aggression seems to already be at an end. How sad. And still that gap is on the high ground. Like, the factory was produced, but the secondary wall was never created.
Yeah, I mean, that's asking for so much trouble. I don't know, word. Well, Hellion's going to come out again once more from Cass. Roach Warren going to be quickly coming out of TLO as well, and this, again, could be the exact same situation we just saw, quite frankly.
Quite possibly. I would be ecstatic to see that, like, that's an actual build that works repeatedly. Roach Warren about to finish up Armory as well. For Cass has been started.
Intriguing. If Cass... Okay, I'm hoping this is Blue Flame Hellions that lead into Hellbats. That's what I'm guessing after seeing the tech lab in the second factory. And this is the type of build I wanted to see earlier today. Blue Flame Hellion is so darn good. Yeah, it doesn't add any bonus damage versus roaches, but it means you only need to get 2 Hellions into the mineral line instead of 3 to do the same amount of damage. Yeah, BBQ.
True enough.
BBQ in the least day 9. Day 911, rather, sorry.
Yeah, that would actually be fantastic for a YouTube VOD. Just like, yeah, Rotterdam. That's a good point you brought up in
yeah,
chat.
we should totally like troll our YouTube viewers like, oh, Mr. Bitter, you agree with everything I said in chat today? Thank you so much. Artosis, what are you doing here again? Like,
man, you're always here.
what's that? You absolutely support our stream? Thank you, that's so kind of you. Now, one thing here, I'm going to just joking aside, I'm interested in the thought process of Cass always seems to put his Widow Mines behind his supply depots. And by doing so, yeah, they can't reach out to the roaches, they're not going to get Zerglings. It will save them from getting, like, triggered by 1 or 2 Zerglings, but in the end, it's not the most effective way to use them, I feel.
True, and Widow Mine's still actually out of range here as the second supply depot is going to go down, which is frustrating for Cass. And the refinery here even may be in danger as well, as Widow Mine does go off, but TLO is not going to push the advantage.
Well, he saw the Hellbats, and Hellbats out DPS roaches. I mean, they're slower and they can be kited, but in a straight-on fight, fist for fist, Hellbats win against roaches. They do more damage, not to mention the splash. So, not a bad choice to peel back for the time being. Go establish your third, get that monster creep spread going, as TLO is doing.
And as he is known for, he does it in some very, very creative ways, and even has some creep spread all the way across the map already. That's right, it's 9 minutes and 30 seconds into the game. Why not drop some creep?
I want to comment on this. He's going full mech with this build, which is intriguing to me, to say the least.
Oh!
Rest in peace, all of those units.
Yeah. Everything dead.
Yeah, I mean, tanks... Hellbats, really good combination. Of course, you will eventually need Thors, or else you're going to die to Spire play, which we have coming out of TLO. But we've also seen him crush this without it. So, I mean, it's his choice to react to how Cass chooses to play.
Yeah, and the engineering bay is also going down at a pretty good time here. So Cass, whether or not he knows that the choice is going to be Spire, is going to be able to prepare for it and at least have some kind of static defense. Fourth base, again, being taken up to the north first out of TLO. We've seen that a couple times out of him on this map, where he prefers to go up there and take that a little bit early, to be honest. And why not when your opponent's only on 2 bases? Finally moving out a little bit from his shell. Cass looks like he might be thinking about moving towards taking his 3rd base, but that 3rd orbital still firmly seated. There we go. Finally takes off. I was wondering.
I like this too. The spread of the turrets and the Widow Mines is enough that Mutalisk can't really come in and get a bunch of free kills, but the catch is, by having him in the base like this, there's nothing to defend this main army, and 1 Thor alone. Oh, Ord is lagging out.
Ah, sorry.
Anyways, one Thor alone won't really be enough to deter a flock of Mutalisks. And while we don't have a whole lot being created at the moment, when you consider the fact that nothing here shoots up, a couple Mutalisks suddenly becomes very deadly.
Yeah, and Queen here, that laid down all sorts of creep tumors, gets cleaned up pretty quickly. Scan goes down, and Cass is actually able to clean up just about all of those creep tumors. 1 more is left over with a couple of roaches to the north, and to the very far north, some Mutalisks go into the Rude Awakening that Widow Mines plus missile turrets defeat them.
Yeah, but the catch is, again, there's no anti-air with this army. There's a hell of a lot of Hellbats and Siege Tanks, but two Thors are going to have not a lot of fun dealing with this many Mutilisks. Just Magic Box them both, and it's kind of like, okay, well, now what? Okay.
We do have the O1 upgrades, though, for the mech units, whereas our air units from TLO are still 0-0, and TLO, I don't know, I'm a little afraid for him that he's spreading himself too thin. He's attacking towards the south, he's also taking a 5th base really aggressively, has all kinds of creep, but not the type of creep tumors that you may normally expect.
Yeah, it's actually funny, he's kind of blocked off his own 4th base there, instead of going for the very north base, but, oh, gonna get a couple nice hits on these Mutilisks, but not enough to really kill anything here.
Using those Overseers to a really fantastic effect so that the Mutilisks can be grouped up even better, Broodlore-ish style. I like seeing that out of him. And Cass is now going to go ahead and march forward and say, you know what, this is my Xel'Naga Tower, go away.
Yeah, it's funny too, because TLO taking all the unconventional bases on the map also leaves them very susceptible to attacks like this. In fact, this hatchery is just as good as gone.
Yeah,
meanwhile, those Zergling run by, depots are down, he's got to lift them, there we go! But oh, there's a hole in the missile turret's Ord!
Oh, and the Hellbat is there as well to help protect. So TLO actually doesn't achieve all that much with the run by, and at the same time loses one of his bases. Not a big deal, he didn't have a lot of drones there, but he did invest in the extractors already, which seems a little silly. I think he believed he was more ahead in the game than he truly was. Cass showing us that Mech is viable somewhat, at least, as he's marching all the way across the map, but 8 Broodlords are being worked.
I'm actually not concerned about these Broodlords, because if you put the Thors into high impact mode with all these Hellbats here, yeah, as we see here, he's going to deal with these Broodlords quite nicely, and the Broodlings, they're not going to have a chance to do a lot of damage. Actually, the Hellbat's nowhere near the Thor. This is quite deadly, Ord.
Yeah.
He needs to be protecting these Thors, and in not doing so, he's going to let the Broodlords run all over the army, but you know what? Cass is just going to keep pushing, and why not? I mean, look at the force of Hellbats. They will absolutely be cleaned up, but not before claiming a lot of lives.
Yeah, Cass just basically ended up with too few anti-air against that many Mutilisks and Broodlords, but was able to push forward here and do lots of damage. Ooh, one more blast on those drones would have been devastating. At the same time, he was also attacking that northernmost base, did some damage to the hatchery up there, killed a couple of drones, or at least harassed them, but now they're back to mining, and now there's one single Hellbat being attacked by a drone.
And Vikings are in production 5 at a time, but I kind of feel like these Vikings should have been started at least 2-3 minutes ago. I mean, he should have had a couple with his army. The Thors, again, were in a nice position, but abandoned by the Hellbat, sadly. But there's one Hellbat kind of making up for it with all of these drone kills. Oh my, Ord.
15! Yeah, finally, he does go down. These Broodlords do finally arrive, and the Mutilisks impatiently are going to move forward. EmpireKas with the supply lead at this point, and the +2 vehicle weapons is about to finish. These Thors are going to be super strong. There they are, +2,
Hellbats take care of these Broodlings so effectively, and now the Thors just have to focus fire down the air, but unfortunately, not being in splash damage mode, are going to have a lot of trouble dealing with the Mutilisks. Corruption go down on the Thors, and Cass in quite a bit of trouble, actually.
Oh, the Magic Box, the SEV's not really being pulled to repair quickly enough. Now we have all sorts of ground-only units wandering around underneath Mutilisks and Broodlords. That's no good. A couple of Vikings arrive, and one more Thor is left over. As oh my goodness, with the epic repair going down on this Thor, but it's not enough. We still have a Broodlord left. We still have Mutilisks left. We have a couple Corruptors just for the heck of it. A Viking or two are left. But Cass does not have an answer to this army. His only answer is to run away. And run away means towards his opponent. So the Mutilisks get drawn away from his main base. But there's a lot of Corruptors around with these Broodlords. So even as Vikings come out, there's not much Cass can do against this army composition.
No, even more Broodlords being morphed in. Now, Cass is going to continue to be as much, I guess, do as much damage as he can economically, but it's not really enough at this point, because TLO, you got to remember, had 5 bases so early on.
He really did. And he has finally gone ahead and killed the creep tumor that was in his way so we could take that fourth base in the center of the map, the more traditional location as we might think of it. And some Broodlords again are being morphed in as TLO showing a bit of patience. I like that. Not pushing forward and just losing everything all at once. Has Queens arriving as well so they can lay down the transfuses on his Broodlords. Some orbital commands from Kas should probably be lifted. There they go.
Rest in peace, Orbital. You're not long for this world. And it's just too many Corruptors here to allow the Vikings to be effective. And the Thors, they're just not... He's been losing them too little, too much. And as we see here, the Vikings trying to kite the Corruptors, but this is pretty much nail in the coffin time.
Yeah, so the last Thor gets cleaned up there. The GG comes. TLO takes it.